going on YouTube? 65 Rider here, coming to you with another moto vlog today. This one actually takes place super early in the morning. Well, not that early, it's 7:59 a.m. But I don't usually do these early moto vlogs. However, since I've been up since like 5 a.m. this morning, I decided to go to Wholefoods and get some stuff for lunch today. Right before we do that, we're gonna make a quick stop, you guessed it, to get some gas because the light is on. Anyway, so other than that, in this video I want to tell you guys a little bit about some of my hobbies, which honestly over the past couple of years has been a new concept for me. Growing up, I for some reason never had any hobbies. It was weird. I was just that kind of kid that, like, you know, I love to play video games because that shit is fun. I'm in my 30s now and like I still play video games, but I wouldn't really consider that a hobby, right? Because video game hobbyists really, you know, get into that that kind of stuff, you know. They go deep into it with all kinds of different games, and they build gaming computers and all that kind of stuff. I've never been that type of person. And also, like, growing up, I never really played any sports. As you guys know, I'm 6'5". In high school, I tried to play basketball. Wasn't for me. First of all, I sucked at it. Even though I was a taller kid in class, I always sucked at it. In high school, I also played, for 1 year only, I played rugby, which I found some enjoyment in. That was a lot of fun because of that physical contact aspect of it. And that was one thing that was like really eye-opening, but I hadn't realized it yet at the time. So going back to 2018, I was like really getting into like watching you know, mixed martial arts, and that was a big thing that I've watched, you know, since I was younger. I watched a lot of, to start off, of course, as a younger kid, I watched a lot of WWE, and then started, you know, slowly getting into like watching UFC and things like that. My parents never liked me watching it because of how brutal that sport is. And so like I was only exposed really to it when I was in college. And I always wanted to train martial arts. But in college I was too broke to do it. Because, you know, like, it's not cheap. Memberships usually go between $100 to $150 per month, and as a college student, nah, couldn't do that. And so flashback, or flash forward, or however you want to think about it, to 2018, I went to my brother-in-law's friend's first amateur mixed martial arts fight, and it was like my first fight event that I actually see in person. So I went there, watched the fight. It was like everybody was like pumped, and it was a lot of fun. And after the fight was over, I went up to the guy and I'm like, congrats on your, you know, your debut, your amateur debut. Where do you train? I'm gonna come and train with you. So right then and there, he was like, kind of brushed it off, and he's like, oh yeah, I train at this gym called Kaizen MMA. This was back when I lived in Virginia. So I was like, cool. That Monday I showed up. I kind of mustered up the courage, because I'm such an introverted person. So I mustered up that courage and I walked into the gym and I took my first boxing class. And that was so much fun. This was back in May 2018 or something like that. I was turning 28 years old in a couple of months, and I decided I needed to make a change in my life, and that was going to be it. That was the change. So I did some boxing, that then got exposed to like Muay Thai, got into that for a bit, and then I got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I really got into it was like, I think I tried my first class August 2018. And I remember, like, I'm a bigger guy, yo. Like, at the time I was like 260 pounds, 6'5", whatever. And I was like, walked into the class and I'm like, Yeah, I'm probably gonna dominate everybody because I'm a bigger guy, and everybody in class was like much smaller than I was. Little did I know, probably the smallest guy in class who just destroyed me. And ever since that happened, I was hooked. Like they said in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world, I caught the bug. Caught the BJJ bug. And so I've been doing that ever since, you know, like since August 2018. It's currently October 2021. I got my blue belt in August 2019, and I trained for like 3 months. Got a little injury in my knee. Well, not little, it was a painful injury in my knee. I was out for like a month. Came back around the January-February time frame in 2020. Pandemic hit, everything closed, no more training. So in the middle of that, when that happened, we ended up moving as well. Like back in March 2020, we moved from Northern Virginia down to West Palm Beach, Florida. And coming down here, we're in the middle of a pandemic. It's a new state, new city. I don't really know anybody here. I didn't have the motivation to find a gym, you know. So it took about a year, or maybe less than a year, like I don't know, like 11 months, 10 months off of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu during the pandemic, and just like really did not give into it, even though I really wanted to, you know, and I missed it every day. But then February 2021, between the February and March time frame, I found a gym down here and I started it once again. So ever since then, like for the past 7 months or so, since February, I've been, you know, like mostly consistently going back to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that is like my ultimate hobby. I'll actually talk a little bit more about it in a different video, just to kind of explain what it is, explain the belt ranking system, everything. Yeah, so like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's a big hobby of mine. And right next to that, I don't want to say after that, I wouldn't say right next to it because they're both on the same level, is motorcycles. Hell yeah. All right, we're gonna go down to Wholefoods and then we're gonna pick this up.
A few moments later.
I don't think I'll ever stop saying this, but again, another reason for why I love these leather pros is because I can go on a quick grocery run and fit all my bags in here. Fit on the other side. Yeah, I think I mentioned that a few times in my videos, is that this was actually my favorite upgrade to the bike, and that's because it allowed me to ride it more often. Oh man, I always do this. There we go. Anyway, what were we talking about? We were talking about hobbies. Yeah, so like I said, never had hobbies when I was a young kid. All my hobbies kind of grew into me, you know what I mean? Motorcycle riding, obviously, because, you know, that's the premise of this channel, and that's the reason why I'm talking to you guys right now. Freaking love motorcycles, man. Any type of motorcycles, all types of motorcycles. They're just so much fun. The ride, the community, you know, you passing by another motorcyclist and you guys do that little wave. I mean, just that sense of belonging to something, you know, it's really cool. Let's see, another hobby of mine that has always actually been a hobby, but I really got into it recently, is shooting. I'm like, you know, just going to the range and putting up some targets and just shooting them, you know. I recently got my concealed carry permit and have started carrying my handgun, you know, whenever I'm out, because, you know, there's so many bad people in this world, man. There's a lot of people that wish to do you harm, and so that's why I always carry, especially being on the bike. That way, you know, as an extra measure of protection. So yeah, that's been a hobby of mine. I enjoyed it when I was a kid. I just never like actually went shooting. Like, I'd go every now and then with my dad. My dad's a retired military man, so we used to go out to the range every now and then. Nothing crazy like I've been doing recently. Hold on. I actually want to take a picture of the bike right here. This looks like a pretty cool spot. So yeah, especially since I recently got my concealed carry permit, I've been doing a lot of shooting, going out to the range and making sure that I have enough skills to be able to responsibly and safely use it. And if any of you guys ever are considering doing something like that, please be safe, be careful, and make sure you know how to use your firearm, make sure you know how to secure it. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Just now being over there at the launching dock for the boats reminded me of my other hobby that I recently gained also, boating. Boating has become a really big hobby of mine ever since I moved down here to South Florida. I actually joined a boat club, which I'm planning on doing a video review or whatever, kind of highlighting that experience, because I think it's a genius experience. You pay a monthly fee and you get to take out a boat whenever you want. It takes out the headache of maintaining the boat, takes out the headache of cleaning, launching, and all that stuff. So it's a lot of fun, and I plan to do a video on that in the coming weeks next time I go out on the boat. So that's been a really big hobby of mine. Basically, I think what I'm trying to get at, and the message behind this specific video, is that, you know, it's never too late for people to find their hobbies. Like I said, when I was younger, man, I used to like in my teens especially, I used to sit there by myself and like think to myself, I'm like, I don't have a hobby. Like, literally, I would sit there and I would say that to myself. I was like, I do not have a hobby. I don't, like, there's nothing that I really like, that I'm passionate about, that I'm consistently doing. And honestly, a big part of that was the financial aspect of it. Is because there's a lot of things that I wanted to try and do, but as I was younger, as I was like getting in my adolescent years, I couldn't afford to do some of those things. And so that was kind of a big barrier in my way. As I've grown a little older, like I said, I'm in my 30s now, early 30s, and I've got a really good job that pays, you know, that pays fairly well. I have that liberty and that freedom to do those things that I've always wanted to do. So I just want to tell all of you out there, you know, everybody that's watching, it's never too late to find a hobby if you're struggling with something like I was. And it's really good to have hobbies. Hobbies really, like, you know, help you stimulate your mind. And like, what I would consider a really good hobby is something that gets you out of your comfort zone, something that causes you to make a change in your life. It doesn't have to be a drastic change, but a change for the better. And going back to the comfort zone thing, I mean, that's a major thing. Just having something that you consistently do that challenges you, whether physically or mentally or both, honestly, or even emotionally. So again, wanted to let you guys know, it's never too late. Just keep searching for that thing that makes you passionate, man. Whether it's motorcycle riding, whether it's mixed martial arts, whether it's lifting weights at the gym, whatever it is, go out there, find it, stick to it. Like Nike says, just do it.
Do it! Just do it!
Thank you for coming to one of my TED Talks. No, just kidding. As always, you guys, thanks so much for joining me in my journey. And actually, if you sat through this whole video, I really appreciate you. Please don't forget to hit that like button, because that actually helps the channel by recommending it to more viewers. And the more people that watch and like my videos, the more I know that, you know, you guys are actually enjoying this, and that allows me to put out more content, gives me that motivation. Subscribe if you're not subscribed as well, and if you are, I really thank you for doing that. As always, thank you for your time, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace.